Welcome back to Stinging Back. I'm A, and today we are presenting part 2 of last week's episode.
And I'm M. This is part 2 of last week's conspiracy theories episode. We do have P and D with us.
Right, when you talk about like powerful people engaged in this type of behavior, something that always stuck out to me was something I, when I was in college, learned in one of my sociology classes. Was Could you guys guess? Maybe you know, but could you guess the day of the year that has the most child trafficking? We actually know this for a fact. Could you guys guess what it is?
I actually don't know what that is. Is it would it be maybe August or
Nope.
I would say August, a summer month.
It's actually not a summer month.
Oh.
So the day of the year that has the most child trafficking that we are able to track and we have data on is Super Bowl Sunday.
wow.
Oh.
And that is because you have so many wealthy people congregating in one place. And so they are bringing all these people in with them. So that tends to be the day where the most like rescues have been made and people are aware of that as being like the most trafficked day is actually Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, it seems like there was some news with the Super Bowl in Las Vegas of a lot of arrests having to do with that.
It speaks to the fact that it's not like just Joe Schmo on the internet. It's really not. Like the people who are doing this harm are the rich and powerful people. They have the money to cover it up, whereas those of us who don't have the money to fight get stuck with this label for something that we did not do, just because we don't have the money to fight it. And it's really hard for people to believe that, but that is not a conspiracy. That is the truth.
Yeah, and speaking of conspiracies, yeah, some people, have accused us of being mental and, making up things that just aren't true. But what we've been speaking out about, this is not a conspiracy. This is the truth. We have what do you call it? We have the receipts for it. We can show we have the proof. These online sting operations, the internet crimes against children, sting operations are not about saving and protecting children. Now there are some that, like the FBI does, like we recently learned about the 764 ring. I hadn't heard about that before. I just recently came across that. Why are there no like major headlines about that? Are you guys familiar with that?
I am, and again, I'm also surprised there's not a major headline about that because you would think that would be pretty major news.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of news on it, but it's not like the Epstein files where every channel you click on has something about it. 764 ring, it should be headlines everywhere. It's a pretty disgusting scenario.
Yeah, this is an actual group that was targeting children, exploiting them, producing abuse material. Now that's real, yet where are the headlines about that? Where's the national outrage about that? Why are the vigilante groups not talking about that? Why is ICAC not putting out information about that?
Yeah, this group would go on to like Roblox and Minecraft and the places where kids go and befriending them and eventually talking them into hurting themselves on camera or hurting animals and pets and family members on camera and all kinds of disgusting things that this 764 group was talking children into.
Good God.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
They were using those children to produce, cheese pizza, BP, and I believe I read somewhere that I don't know if was it the 2 leaders of the 2 leaders that were arrested also had sexually abused real children.
But that's the hard work that they did. Like I'm sure the FBI investigation wasn't just a fly by night weekend operation where they rented an Airbnb. I'm sure this is the culmination of years and years of investigation by the FBI. which is the type of dedication you would expect of someone who is trying to, positively impact and make a positive change. ICAC rents out an Airbnb, sends a couple of text messages, and then calls 50 people, ruins 50 people's lives. Like that's not hard
Well,
work.
and
That's
what's
easy.
crazy is that, the public has been made to believe that, ICAC, the Internet Crimes Against Children program, that we have put millions and millions of dollars into. Uh, this is what parents, and the public believe that ICAC is protecting their children from. This is what the public thinks that the ICAC sting operations and the sting operations that the vigilantes conduct, they think that this is, what their kids are being protected from. This, like what the 764 ring was doing. They're reaching out to children on gaming sites, on Facebook, on Snapchat, on WhatsApp, and then they are, they friend them. They pretend to be, hey, I'm a 13-year-old girl just like you, and hey, look at my boobies. Now show me yours. And that's how they produce, the CP, right? And then they turn around and use that picture of that 13-year-old girl, and they'll target a boy pretending to be a girl, and they'll send him that picture, and then they'll get him, to send them a picture of himself, an inappropriate picture of himself, and then they turn around and they blackmail him, and they say, we have all of your contacts, we have this picture. If you don't send us money, we're going to, send this picture of yourself to all of your contacts, everybody on your contact list. And this is what parents are terrified of, as they should be, and the public. And this is, what vigilante groups and the ICAC task forces, they're letting the public believe that this is what they are addressing, when 0% of these sting operations that we have seen them conduct have anything to do with addressing any of this. They don't understand that what they're doing is they're going, to first pretend to be an adult who wants to hook up with a man and have a sexual encounter with him. And then once they get him going and work on getting him aroused, then they say, oh, by the way, I'm just 13. I hope you're okay with that. Please don't be mad at me. So their goal is, to get these men aroused and then introduce an imaginary hypersexualized minor into that highly sexually charged situation, because they want the men to think about minors that way. They're trying to get men to view minors in that way. It's like they're trying to create pedophilia, which is very disturbing. This is dark and disturbing. And people don't get that. And that's why I say it like that, because that's what's going to help people understand that this is what these vigilante groups are doing. This is what ICAC task forces are doing. This is what our government is doing. And they are defending this and they are protecting this. And our tax dollars are being wasted on this. And your children are not being protected from this. And why do we even have the ICAC program if that's not what they're doing? The FBI is the one addressing the real issues. Why the heck have we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on the ICAC program? Have you thought about that?
I just find it interesting that the ICAC program, anytime I see an officer going to that program or that division, it's almost like the kiss of death for their for their careers. It's either they figure out what's going on and their mental health goes down and they just don't want to do it anymore, or they get caught in the act of being a pedophile.
Because what they're doing is just wrong, and their karma eventually catches up. And I mean, I'm sorry, but I think you have to have a pedophilic mind to be okay with doing something like that and then to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
It's disturbing. It's wrong.
Well, something that I thought of, I wonder, maybe we contact Kathleen and Cage and see if they've ever done any statistics on that. How many sting arrests compared to how many online from Roblox and all the other kid places? How many arrests come from them, from the ICAC task force?
I think
So I'd like to compare the statistics and see what the numbers are.
Well, I did speak to our statistics guy, and he has agreed, to come on and be interviewed. In fact, when Alex Rosen had said that he wanted to debate us, and I invited him to join us on a debate, um, Dan said that he would join us because he is our stats guy and he will present the facts. Problem is, Alex Rosen has not responded. He said he would um, join us for a debate on August 1st, but he never gave me a time and he stopped responding. I'm also wondering because he's out on bail
Hmm.
and he's facing a felony harassment charge. It might not be in his best interest because he is someone who's aggressive and harasses people, right? That could actually be used against him, don't you think?
He's already said enough to hang himself with. I mean, if he's looking purely out of fact of I don't want a recording of me saying something that might harm me in a defense trial, it's too late. You already have. I'm just going to tell you that now. I'm sorry, you've already done that. You grew too big, too quick, and you've kind of shot yourself in the leg. That's coming from an older man with years and experience and
Yeah,
training.
I thought about it afterwards because I was really looking forward to it. I said I really would like to have a discussion with him and have him explain, why he thinks it's okay to do what he's doing. But then he stopped responding. And then I just figured, it may not be, he probably got smart and realized this is not a smart thing to do because his goal is to attack us, to tell us we're wrong and we're stupid and you know, tell us all those ugly things we're used to hearing about how horrible we are and we don't, men should know that you should say no to children when they want to have sex with you
But
because that's how his mind works, right?
on that same token, when you were saying these things on, I guess, Twitter, did they not accuse you of being a man?
They didn't believe that I am a woman. They kept saying, and I said, look, I am a woman. I'm female. I have a female perspective. And as a woman, as a mother, as a former teacher, as someone with the master's in psychology, I find what you're doing to be incredibly disturbing because you are sexualizing children and you are, creating these wild fantasies about minors being desperate for sex with random adult strangers online, aggressively pursuing them, demanding sexual conversations from them. You're acting like that's what real minors act like. And that's just not realistic. That's your own fantasy about that. And you're using that to promote and encourage the sexual abuse of children. I said, I find that to be incredibly disturbing.
Well,
And
And what they took from all of that is, oh no, you're not a woman.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
no, they said I was a tranny. They said and
Oh, disrespectful.
they kept telling me, "You are a man," and, kept accusing me of being in denial, and, I just need to accept that I am a man, I am not, a female, I am a tranny, but I am still, a man, and they kept telling me that I was retarded and stupid and just other ugly things like that, which is what Alex Rosen is known for, right? Like, that's the kind of language he uses and harasses people like that.
So basically, they've debunked their own argument by saying that men should know they're talking to children while talking to an adult woman, and then claiming she's some type of transgender or some type of man. So you don't even know yourself on who you're accusing of, but yet you're willing to stand in a trial and accuse a man for 100% thinking they're talking to a child. That's ridiculous.
I made that point. I said, you just proved my point that you cannot know who you're talking to online. You make assumptions and you made the wrong assumption about me. Okay, I can play along and pretend to be a man, but you don't know who you're really communicating with online until you meet them in person. So that proves our point. And how ridiculous it is to say, oh, he knew this was a minor, because she told him so. And I told them, I said, hey, I'm 15 years old. And if you don't believe me, then you're a pedo. You're lying according, to your logic. And you're a pedo because you didn't stop the conversation with me after I told you that I'm 15. I tried to play that back on him. And of course, they continued the conversation. But my point was, it's ridiculous to say you should stop the conversation because you knew that was a minor. He had no idea who I was. He keeps calling me a man. He's in denial about it. And it's like that shows you make wrong assumptions. And you're doing the same thing with these men that you're doing this to online.
I feel like it becomes pointless to engage with people like that, though, because you're not winning hearts and minds there. You're winning hearts and minds in the middle, people with open minds. These people clearly don't have open minds. And clearly, like, if they're spending that much time, anyone who's spending that much time on X calling random people man or woman or whatever, like, you got some issues to fix, guy or girl. I don't know who's doing it. But like, it's just pointless to do that when we have the winning message. Like, just stay on message and just like let these people be miserable. I feel like these people are more hearing the more I hear about these people, because I'm not on any social media or anything like that, but the more I hear about these people, man, I'm a convicted felon, and I'm forced to register, and I feel like I live a happier life than these people who are sitting on X arguing all day.
I
Right.
Man, what does that
I
say?
totally believe that. These people are miserable, and that's why they go around trying to make other people's lives miserable too. And it's like, why don't you just get help? Like you have imprisoned yourself in this dark space, and going around, ruining the lives of others is not going to make your life better. You're only creating more negative karma for yourself. You're sinking yourself in further. Like, why don't you just get help instead of going around harassing strangers, online and then confronting them in their workplaces, based on your chat logs that you created and manipulated? That's not saving and protecting children. That's like you're desperate for attention. You're distracting yourself from your real problems. It's like, what is it that you're running and hiding from? That stuff doesn't ever go away. Just face it and deal with it. And why not just learn to live a happy life and let others be happy? There's just something really wrong with these people. And
No,
there's just
I want to say I believe you are a woman.
thank you. Thank you, Em. I am a woman. And I mean, it's like, I don't know how to prove it. I said, you can hear my female voice on the podcast. Do you think I'm faking a female voice? I'm like, how
You,
do you want me to prove it? I said, do you want me to send you a picture of my 15-year-old private part? You pedo, is that what you're telling me? That I need to prove that I'm a female, And he's like, oh, I'm not a pedo. But it was just insane. And these people, I mean, they just get away with it. They get away with harassing people online, and they get away, it's like they get off on that, and there's no accountability for them. And this is entertainment for them. This is mob entertainment. And meanwhile, the real threats, they slip through the cracks. Nobody's paying attention to that because, they're entertained by people like Alex Rosen, who probably, I mean, he needs mental help.
and RuPaul.
Rue Powell, Chris
I
Hansen.
Yeah, I think they do. And I mean, you got to think, like, if this is how they're spending their time, like, God, what is your life? Like, these people spent their weekend doing this. I spent my weekend out in nature, hanging out with my brother, hanging out with my family, hanging out with my friends, like, and these people spent their time online doing this. I mean, who's really winning here?
Right,
Yeah,
you are.
Honestly, who's winning?
I think it's an addiction to them. It's like the drug addict who has to keep taking that drug to get that high. And then, then you need more of it to get the same high. And I have seen where some of these, vigilantes have come forward and talked about their experience with this. And some of them have admitted, hey, I was high when I was doing that. And hey, this did become an addiction to me and it was not healthy. And I finally broke out of that. And our society is just not there yet to where, our society has recognized that and has pointed it out that something needs to be done about this. Some of these, they become addicted to it. Like Alex Rosen, I truly believe he's addicted, to doing this, to putting down other men. I think these are men who hate themselves. And so they have a hate for men. And then he's addicted to that. He gets that high, from putting down other men, it's like, look at them, they're bad. I'm not like that. And, the clicks and the views and the money. And and the attention he gets from that, and then that high wears off, so he has to go do it again. I think he's stuck in that cycle. So I think he needs to be stopped. I think it would be very good if he does get prosecuted, convicted, and put in timeout for a good while to break him out of that cycle. I truly believe that's what needs to happen, because he's hurting people, and he's going to continue to do it, and it'll continue to get worse, because just like an addiction gets worse, I mean, that's what's going to happen. And so I really hope that prosecutor does what they need, really knows and looks into, what he's been doing, and
And it's proof.
uses this as an opportunity, to get the guy some help, pull him out of this sick, twisted game, and use him as an example for all the rest of them that are doing this too.
Yeah, and go after the crew.
Go after the crew, go after all of them. That needs to start
Yeah.
happening, because it's only gotten worse, and it will continue to get worse. It needs to be stopped. And this is a great opportunity for that prosecutor to, at least put an end to this one by
Right.
by holding them accountable.
I think that's a really good point, because even though I don't like what he's doing, the constitutionalist in me just, wants to throw all the tea in the harbor when I see stuff like this. But end of the day, you have this 24-year-old guy, to me, that's still a kid. Even though he looks like he's in his 40s, that's still a kid.
He looks way older. I didn't realize
God, he does. Hey,
maybe,
That reverse Benjamin Button
maybe
syndrome.
that's an old video you watch, because there's no way he's 24.
let me give it a quick Google. But I don't want to see anything personally bad happen to him. At the end of the day, I see him as just some kind of dumb kid.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he deserves to get. I think he needs to get the help he deserves.
I agree. Maybe the DA can use his charges to kind of get him some help with court mandation,
Yeah,
because it's not appropriate for you to do the work of law enforcement and then claim you're making all these great cases, when I've only heard of maybe, like, in the interviews I've watched, maybe 8 of them, and 8 of them are good cases, but you've made more than that. So it's really kind of hard for me to say if they're good cases or bad cases. I don't necessarily see the receipts, and the good ones you do have, you go to a what's that hardware store, Staples, and you print out literal um, abusive material on the staple printer in public. Do you not see anything really inappropriate about that?
yeah, the public needs to start paying more attention to these things. And maybe now with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff going on, and, seeing how easy it is for people like that to hide in plain sight and continue to get away with it, and continue, to do real harm to others, maybe people will wake up and start paying more attention to what these people are really doing, and holding them accountable, and helping stop them from continuing to do more of this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think all of this it's a good time to say, hey, we support saving children. We are 100% behind saving children. But
Mm-hmm.
the false information, the manipulation of evidence, you mentioned being a constitutionalist, following the laws and doing it legally is what we are behind.
That's right, because
Yes.
because of what they've done, it's caused, so much loss of faith and trust in our law enforcement and in our system. And we need to bring that back. And I think now is the time, and it's not going to happen if the public, is not putting pressure on our government to start doing the right things. Stop doing the wrong things and start doing the right things. Make it about truly saving and protecting children. Make it about what the parents are truly concerned about, what, the children are truly concerned about online. Stop sexualizing children. Stop demanding sexual conversations from men on adult sex websites while you're pretending to be a child. That has absolutely nothing to do with, child protection online. If you're a disgusting person who thinks that children are desperate for sex like that, go see a therapist. Find out why you're having these thoughts, why you have the urge, to pretend to be a 13-year-old who's desperate for sex with random men online. That's just That's not normal. That's not realistic. It needs to stop, and you need to stop defending that.
I think you brought up an excellent point that like we are all for evidence-based and productive laws in this vein, and that's the thing that we're not seeing in the space. um, there are evidence-based ways. There are organizations that have looked into these things. There are recommendations that are made on yearly bases to the DOJ, to Congress, that are completely opposed to what our laws are right now with regards to crimes of this nature. UV4SOR is a great org if you're looking for more information on that. Also, NARSOL is the national governing body, and they also have great information on evidence-based policies that will, in fact, result in a decrease in child sexual abuse and things of that nature, while protecting the rights and liberty of people who are innocent and giving them the ability to continue on. Because even if they've committed a crime, everybody does deserve the chance to move on, regardless of what happened. So we have these policies, and it's just a matter of people, bringing awareness to them and lobbying their legislators.
So Alex Rosen was actually born in 2000.
So he is like 24, 25. I didn't realize he was that young.
Mm-hmm.
So he is just a young, dumb kid.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for,
Mm-hmm.
being so harsh about him then. He is just, his brain's not even fully developed yet.
No.
I had no idea. I thought he was an older man. Okay, I am sorry, Alex Rosen. You are just a young, dumb kid. You need help. And I hope you find that. I really do wish well for you.
Now, okay, so what's the takeaway? Be skeptical, ask questions, demand proof, but don't confuse showboating with truth, and don't let disinformation distract you from the crimes that are hiding in plain sight.
Dee, were you going to say something about the takeaway?
Oh yeah. Takeaway. Alex Rosen will most likely not be coming on our podcast. He's going to be like everybody else, and he's just going to say he's going to come on and magically forget to come on, and we don't get to question him. I'm going to go and call it out now.
Okay, yes. And I mean, knowing now that he's just a young, dumb kid, I actually feel bad for him. Um, I just want him to get help. I want him to stop doing what he's doing, break out of that vicious cycle he's trapped in. I do think he needs to be held accountable for what he has done. Uh, and I really hope he learns from all of this. And um, hopefully this is his way out of that. And hopefully he moves on to a better life and, to find happiness for himself.
This is going to come from an individual who's seen death life, investigated death life. I've been in policing for about 5 years. Criminal justice major, about 3 classes away from getting my bachelor's and minors in homeland security. And if it ever makes it to them, bro, you need to stop. You already got the early warning sign indicators. You already grabbed a felony, right? Quit while you're ahead. It's not going to end good for you. I've seen a lot of guys like you who went out thinking they were doing the right thing just to be, fired, suspended, or, jailed. There's many, 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 many people just like you, and it has not worked out. The only difference between them and you is you have a camera and a following.
Yep. And that'll change.
Here at Stinging Back, under the right circumstances, we offer interventions.
I love it, Em. Yeah, I'm really feeling bad for him now. It's like he needs help. Maybe Alex Rosen, if you get the help you need, I will be your friend. I will, I promise. But you do need to be held accountable first for what you have done. Key, do you have any final thoughts?
I think just remain skeptical, like Em said, always, because simplistic thinking is what led us to this situation, and critical thinking is what's going to get us out of this situation. So continue to lobby your legislators, continue to keep abreast of news and evidence-based policies, and make sure to like, review, and subscribe.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, P and D again, of course. And we'll always call out what's fake, but we'll never stop exposing what's real. This episode isn't about conspiracies, it's about patterns, and we have a duty to pay attention to them.
Now, if you're listening and you felt confused or overwhelmed by all the noise out there, don't worry. That's what they want. You're not alone. We're all in this together.
We'll be back next week with another episode where we keep shining light in the darkest places. Until then,
stay grounded
stay vigilant.
And keep
stinging
back.
Let's do it together. Ready? 1,
All right.
2, 3. And
keep stinging back.
Sorry, they don't have the script. Okay, we're going to say and keep singing back together. Ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. And keep
stinging
singing
back.
back.
And keep stinging back.